Hello everyone, my name is Tessie Mebitan. I'm giving this video today to talk about competition and gatekeeping in the event industry. I know everybody's ears will really rise up because this is something that we struggle with in the event industry. I don't know if it's like that in any other industry. I do not think so. I mean, before I came into the event industry, I practiced as an architect. There's pretty much no competition there. I didn't see any competition because your work would just speak for itself. And so when I came into the event industry, I came with that notion, well, how much can you do on your own, alone, in one weekend? But the issue of competition and gatekeeping in the event industry is something that even the blind can see, the deaf can hear, and is a problem in the event industry. Competition is good, healthy competition is good. But if at the back of your mind you're thinking of how to outsmart the other person, your fellow professional in the industry, then we are speaking a different language. And that is why people always say, oh, there's always gatekeeping. People get information and they don't want to share it. They don't want to share. I can understand, maybe don't give all the details, but come on, help somebody, because what does it profit you if you are the only one at the end of your industry and the next people closest to you are so far behind? It's like we are still in secondary school or primary school where you're thinking of, oh, I want to be the best in class, I want to be this, and it doesn't work like that. Competition in the event industry is something that we as professionals, we must steer ourselves away from. There is healthy competition. I've got people in my event industry here who we work together. There is no competition. They love me. I love them. I want the best for them, and they want the best for me. However, you also find other people who they can they can get an invoice from a client, and that's how bad the competition is. They can get an invoice and say, okay, are we undercharge, or I'll charge less so that I will get that job and the other person doesn't get a job. As professionals, that is very, very tacky. It stinks, but a lot of us do that, and it is painful to hear about it. One of the things is competition is normal, but insecurity creates unhealthy rivalry. Because you're insecure in yourself, because you're insecure in your work, because you're insecure in your worth, we tend to have that unhealthy rivalry and want to outdo the next person, want to do. When I came into this industry years ago, there were professionals who would not hire that stuff out. I'm like, why wouldn't you hire your stuff? You've used the centerpiece. Can I use this centerpiece for my own event? And they'll be, no, they don't do that. They don't hire their stuff out. No, they don't want anybody to use their stuff. They want it to just be them. I could not understand why that was the case. I could not understand why. I'm not going to do exactly the same design that you did. And that made me, it was a mindset shift for me. I immediately said, okay, if I'm unable to get the stuff, I'm going to invest in my business so that I can get all the stuff and I can hire it out. So when I came into the industry in the UK, I changed a lot of things in my community, my circle, or the circle I came into, where they would not want to hire anything. You see somebody using chair covers or using chairs, they don't want to, only them, because when you look for that thing, you say, oh, is this A events company or B events company that uses it, that has it? I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So what I did, I went and I invested so much in my business. So I'm making profit. I'm investing back into the business. So those things that those people were claiming to be artifacts for them, I was buying those things and I was hiring them out. So I just opened up the industry for people, like, do whatever you want to do. You saw it on my page and you like it, go and hire it and do it. You're not going to do the same thing. Even if you take the flower, you hire the flowers. You're not going to do the same decor. It's going to be different. You're probably going to use different centerpiece. You're going to use different cutlery, use different napkins. So it's never going to be the same. So that's opened up a lot of things. But still, there is competition. I feel like people compete because they are so unsure of themselves. They're so unsure of themselves. That's why people compete. There's no other way, there's no other reason, there's no other explanation I can give that will make sense. People will say, oh, I don't want people to copy my ideas. Come on, the ideas are yours. They can copy your creativity, but the idea behind it is different. And so for me in this industry, what I've learned to do, or what I'm doing, is I'm doing something and people copy me. I don't have a problem. For me, it's like honor for me, for people to copy me, people to copy what I'm doing. I don't want to compete with you. I'm not competing. There's so much. The sky is so large for everybody. They don't have that mentality. The sky is so big. The sky is so large. There is just so much we can do. Stop competing. So kind of like lost my line of thought here. But when people copy me, I feel like it's respect to me. Like they're copying me. Yes, I'm happy that people are copying me. But you see that knowledge I have, you can't really copy me. So I'm doing something. Yes, I remember what I was going to say. So when I'm doing something and people are copying me, how is that a problem? It's not a problem. By the time they're copying me and they want to do the thing I'm doing, I've moved on to the next stage. And by the time they're coming to do what I'm doing again, I've moved on to the next stage. So yes, so I'm always wanting to be a pace setter, a pioneer in my industry, whatever I'm doing. So when you come to say, okay, Tessie or Business Creations is doing certain these things, okay, let's do it, let's copy it. By the time you come there, I've gone. I'm doing something else. I'm doing completely different thing. So like in this industry, we need to be our brother's keepers, not competitors. Because how can you compete? If you are competing, you are still competing in this industry. Everybody has left that WhatsApp group. You are the only one still in that WhatsApp group. You are the only one still trying to do everything all by yourself. Still goes back to a previous video I made about doing things all by yourself, because we are so much engrossed now. So we feel so important, feel like we are so it, but we are not all that like we think we are. And then we'll come back to gatekeeping. So gatekeeping information, contacts, and opportunities slows the growth of the entire industry. I remember one time, a few years back, somebody asked me to give them a contact to get charger plates, glass beaded charger plates. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Immediately, I had the time, I sent the contacts. And then another time again, they wanted contacts for gold cutlery. And I didn't have a problem with that. Okay. And I sent the contact. And then one day, the person came to me and said, Tessie, you're so very good with sharing information. Most people are not like that. And I thought, why would I keep the information? What good is it going to do to me? If I share that information with you, is it going to make you steal my money? No, it's not. And if for some reason, after sharing that information, you go back and use it against me, then I know not to share it the next time. I know a lot of people have been burnt, and that's why they do not want to collaborate. And I get it. So in this aspect of no competition, collaboration instead, we have to also be sensible. I understand why people like, oh, I did it before, and it didn't work for me. This person went back and did this and this, and I understand that. But we must grow away from that. We must grow away from competition to collaboration. And it says collaboration does not mean revealing every supplier strategy or business secret. That's not collaboration. Collaboration means we can do things together. I can give you business if I'm too busy, or you give me business if you're too busy, or I can take stuff from you. Obviously, I pay for it. However, it doesn't mean I should reveal all my business secrets to you. That's not collaboration. That's just being unwise. That's being foolish. I don't want to use the word, but that's what it means. Because if I'm sharing everything, every information I have to you, I'm giving everything, I'm giving you all the secrets. It might sound like what I'm saying is counteracting myself, but no, competition is different from collaboration. Yes, collaboration, yes, you collaborate with people, but then you don't give the secret. Look at Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, the recipe for Coca-Cola, nobody knows it. It's in a vault. Apparently, they said it's in a vault, so nobody knows the recipe, or few people know the recipe to Coca-Cola. But they can collaborate. Coca-Cola collaborates with other companies. But the secret, the main secret, they can't tell you. So please, let's endeavor to collaborate. We can keep the secrets, the things that make you tick. In fact, people can't even copy the things that make you tick. That is something else. The way I do my event is different from the way another person will do my event. Even if we use the same thing, try it, do it as an experiment. If you have one or two staff, give them the same thing and say, go and prepare a table setting. They will prepare different things, even if you give them the same, because it's going to be completely different. People may copy your work, but they cannot duplicate your experience, your relationship, your leadership, or your execution. We cannot demand respect for the event industry while refusing to help it develop professional standards. How do we develop professional standards? We develop professional standards because we are collaborating, we are helping to uplift people, we are bringing people up, not gatekeeping. Not gatekeeping. The industry is known for gatekeeping. I am trying to build a network where people do not gatekeep. Where I can tell you, you can do your business like this. Your business can actually grow if you do this. Your business, this thing that you're doing is going to make your business come down. This is going to make your business, drop in value. I'm going to tell you to make your business. My joy is to see businesses expand. My joy is to see businesses grow. My joy is to see businesses become the best that it can be. Not to be happy if one business is breaking down or one business is folding up because they didn't have the right advice. So if you see somebody struggling, help. Help. You don't expect people to respect us in this industry if we do not collaborate or if we hoard information. There was something that happened years ago. It's so funny. It just came to my mind now. So I had this client who wanted to use my service for their wedding. This was years ago, years before lockdown of 2020. And they came to me for a quote. I gave them the quote, everything, and they came back and said, "Oh, it was very expensive." And I was like, "Okay, no problem, that's fine. I don't mind." When a client comes to me and say I'm expensive, I don't fight them. I just ask questions. What is expensive? There's some things we can take to make sure it comes down to your budget, or how do we work it? But that instance, I think the client was very adamant. Oh, it's very expensive, and I looked at it. It wasn't something I could give a discount because it wasn't really expensive. And I said, okay, that's fine. Guess what? She went to another professional in the industry. And funny enough, because I started doing a lot of hiring, this person that they went to was going to come and hire everything. Well, say about 75% of what they're going to use for that event from my company, for Business Creations. So this client went, and I'll say it now. I don't want to use the P word, but clients are like harlots. They go about, they sleep with everybody. So as they're coming to ask you for a quote, they've also asked at least two other people for a quote. So they went to this vendor, and they actually took my quote, and clients do it. Clients have done it to me. They will take somebody's quote and bring to me and say, match it. I can only match it if it's worth the while. But if I know that person that they got that quote from, I'll tell them, go back to that person. So this vendor that they went to meet, they took my quote and went to the vendor. And the vendor said, this Tessie you got this from. Unfortunately, if Tessie has given you this quote, I can't match this quote because 75% of what I'm going to use, I'm going to be getting from Tessie. So please go back to Tessie. So what my that vendor did immediately, she called me and said, do you know this person? Called the person and said, yeah, it was somebody that was meant to do an event, but I don't think they want to do because they said I'm expensive. I said, well, they came to me and I've told them that they should go back to you. And I said, oh, thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So that client came back to me. Imagine if me and that person were in competition, or that person has that mentality of competing with everybody around them. That vendor would have taken that quote. And that is where a lot of us vendors are struggling. That vendor will take that quote and maybe give £500 less, or as the case may be, so they can get that job. And then come to hire those things from me. I'm not even going to stress myself that they're going to hire those things. I'm going to make my own profit out of it. But that client, guess what? That vendor is going to make a huge loss because they're going to pay me. So, and then do it less than what I was charging the client. But I told the client, you need to go back to Tessie, see if she can give you a discount or whatever. But that quote Tessie gave you is the best. That's how they came back to me. And that's how I got that job. Because somebody refused to be in competition with me, or refused to have that competing mentality that we all have in this industry. There's also a story of, I think it was Gabrielle Union that said it. I saw it and it was mind blowing for me. It was like poof. She said there was a role for a female black actress in Hollywood. They went somewhere else. Maybe I'm not getting the story right. They went somewhere else and gave that. That person gave them a bill or whatever. This is what she's going to charge for taking that role. So, oh, you're too expensive. And they went to Gabrielle Union, and then Gabrielle Union said, oh, I can't do this job if you're already giving it. Although rather quoted higher. Maybe I'm mixing the story, so please don't quote me that this is exactly what happened. But you will get the gist at the end of the day. So the Gabrielino quoted more, or maybe it was somebody else who had that, and then it came, and Gabrielino was the first person they met, or whatever. So what happened was, at the end of the day, both people, or they went round to 3 other black actresses, and they all increased their price. At the end of the day, these producers had to go back to the first person, because what Gabriel said was, if it comes to our industry, it's the same thing. If it comes to you, it comes to me. So I'd rather you give that job to that first person than me to take it because I want to get a job. So what I always say with people in the business, like, if it comes to you, it comes to me at the end of the day, because if it's good for you, that's why we need to surround ourselves with people who are of like minds, who want your progress. Because if it's good for my friend, it is good for me. Even if it's not good for me at the time being, with time, it will be good for me. Because at the end of the day, my friend will lift me up because I'm in that environment of people who it's good for. I don't know if I'm making sense. So let's always try. Let's always try. If you and you listening to this video and you're someone who is high there in the event industry, everybody knows you. Do you have someone you are mentoring? Do you have someone you are lifting up? Do you have someone you are showing the ropes? I know people are wicked. I know life is wicked. People can turn around and you help them and they'll bite the finger that fed them. But at the back of your mind, know it not to be in competition. Know it to lift people up. Know it that as you are there, you are high there, you are the best event decorator, you are the best photographer, you are the best caterer. Are you lifting people up? If somebody comes and says, oh, I want to learn how to cook, how to be a good caterer, do you help them? Do you show them the way? Do you assist them? Or you just say no, and you just don't respond to their messages, you don't respond to their DM, you don't respond to their calls, because you are all there. You don't want to share. You don't want to disseminate. You're just going to be like the Dead Sea. You know the story of the Dead Sea? It's the Dead Sea because it only receives. It doesn't give out. It only receives. It doesn't give out. It's competing with everything. It's collecting. So some of us, we are so high in our industry. We are so high in our profession as a photographer, as a DJ. They are DJing. They are the one they are always calling. If you lighting, you're the one they're always calling, and you do not bring any other person. You are so happy that every other person is failing and you alone, you are succeeding. And you're happy. That somebody comes to you and asks you for one information you don't want to give, you guide that with your life. You keep yourself and keep all the information. You gatekeep. I first said about the word gatekeeping in this industry. I went and checked for it. Gatekeeping is you holding every information, not allowing any other person to get access to that information. And some of us, we do it. If you are one of those people who do it, change. Because the event industry is large enough for all of us. How many events can you possibly do in one weekend? Let's be realistic. How many can you do in one weekend? I know that sometimes you will not have events for weekend or maybe a week or two, but how many can you possibly be able to do in 1 week, in one weekend, without breaking down? Ask yourself that question. The sky is so big. So you've not seen birds, they hit themselves. No, they fly, it's so wide. Every weekend events are happening. What makes you think the next person is taking your job? Nobody. I don't think anybody is capable of taking my job. If they took the job that a client was meant to give, it meant that job wasn't mine in the first place. I wouldn't hate you. I said, oh, fine. That jobs are people don't they come to me and they eventually didn't give me the job, they gave it to somebody and they come back and hire those things for me. When they carry those things to the clients and they are doing the job, it's my logo that will be on everything. So I'm still the one that did it. So imagine, just think about it. Mindset shifts. Let's change our mindsets. Because if we don't change our mindset, we'll still be doing this competing. Some caterers self will be competing with decorators. Decorators will be competing with planners. Planners will be competing with coordinators. That is how bad it is. Like a coordinator will come and take the job of a planner, or a planner will come and take the job of a caterer. They are competing, hiding information. We should change. In closing, protect what is proprietary. Charge appropriately for your expertise, but never allow insecurity to disguise itself as professionalism. Some of us say, well, we're very professional. We don't want to say this, we don't want to say that, we want to give this information, but it's insecurity. Anybody now come and ask me, except I'm so busy, but ask me, and if there's an information that I have, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. For me, that is being professional. Let's build a community. Build a community where everyone respects each other. The event industry is the only industry that there is no community. There is no community in the event industry. Why do we do that? Why? Why can't we build ourselves up? So I'll leave us with this. Being competitive doesn't mean you're being professional. If there is anything you take away from this, collaboration is better than competition. Thank you for watching.